Filmed live in Canada, it's Jim's Record Party. Hello everyone, welcome to Jim's Record Party. I'm your host James. Today we're looking at excellent double albums. There are many, here are a few. We lead off with one of the best, Fathers and Sons on Chess, August 1969. Hard to believe this is Muddy Waters' 7th album. Only his 7th album at this point, a double album brought together basically when Mike Bloomfield and Paul Butterfield said to the Chess Brothers, we want to play with Muddy Waters and make an album with him. The Chess Brothers thought this was a rather good idea, brought in producer Norman Dayron, who I believe went on to produce most, if not all, of the Michael Bloomfield solo work. And they made it happen. They rounded up Duck Dunn from Stax and from, of course, Booker T and the MGs, the great bass player. And they already had Sam Lay and Otis Spann, basically, were drummer and, of course, the great keyboardist Otis Spann, the great drummer Sam Lay, were basically already playing with Muddy, or playing off and on, Otis Spann certainly. And they made this happen. There are a few other players. One album is studio, one album is concert, all in Chicago. Chicago studio, first album, and then at the Super Cosmic Boy Scout Jamboree, I believe it was. I don't know if there were any Boy Scouts actually in attendance. A charity concert, bit of a festival, I believe, outdoor situation for a foundation working in the best of the humanities. What a fantastic album this is. Very unusual to find a double album in the blues genre. Here is one of the best. 1969. It's Muddy Waters, Michael Bloomfield, Paul Butterfield, Duck Dunn, Sam Lay, and the great Otis Spann and others. Buddy Miles sits in on some of the live recording as well, and others in the studio here on Jim's Record Party. Brings us to our second great, excellent double album. It's Chick Corea and Circle Paris concert on ECM, produced by Manfred Eicher. Anthony Braxton, David Holland, Barry Altschul. What a great quartet this was. Basically the Chick Corea acoustic trio, Holland and Altschul, and then joined by Anthony Braxton, the great alto player, multi-reed player. Live in Paris, February 21st, 1971. Some of it's on the edge of outside, some of it slips into outside, some of it is quite tuneful, all highly improvised. Moments here are very dense. Other moments are very transparent and airy. Chick in beautiful form here, his trademark characteristics, and acoustic piano, an entirely acoustic quartet, of course, Circle. What a beautiful album this is, and beautifully presented in a lovely package by ECM, of course. Their recording is always so beautifully engineered and produced. This is no exception. The double Circle live in Paris from February 1971. Brings us to our pivot album today on Jim's Record Party. The great Manassas album, Stephen Stills, Chris Hillman, Dallas Taylor, all co-producers. Stephen Stills' name rides above the band's name here, though. It's Steve Stills, Manassas. Generally, all his tunes, or some co-written with Chris. Stephen Stills' absolute finest moment, in my humble opinion. recorded in Miami under stressful and unusual circumstances, I would say, at the very least, and some post-production done in England at Stephen's home, apparently, where they also rehearsed and got everything ready for their tour as Manassas. I was very lucky, very proud to see this group, Pine Knob Theater in Michigan. Joe Walsh and Barnstorm opening for them at the peak of Joe's Rocky Mountain Way. And then Manassas comes out, and one of America's greatest rock bands ever. Steve and Chris on guitars and miscellaneous acoustics, with Fuzzy Samuels handling the bass chores here. The great Al Perkins on steel, Joe Lala on percussion, Dallas Taylor, of course, on drums, Paul Harris, the great keyboardist. 7 men with a mission here standing under the railway sign in Manassas, bundled up against the cold. One of America's great rock bands. This is a fantastic double album. Could have been a triple album, given the quality of the songs and the playing on this album. Stephen Still's greatest work, some of his absolute greatest work, his greatest band. Yeah, this is probably it. Manassas. Our penultimate choice today here on Jim's Record Party for excellent double albums is the Aladdin Sessions, Lester Young, part of the Blue Note reissue series. This is from 1975, recordings from 1942 to 1948, with a number of different settings and bandmates, all studio work, extensive, exhaustive flypaper notes by the great Leonard Feather, who himself produced a few of the tracks on this album. Beautiful playing by Lester Young. This is the post-war, mostly Lester. There is some earlier playing, as we really slightly earlier. Very, very soulful playing. One of the great masters, one of the gods, of course, of the tenor saxophone, of music. The president, Lester Young, accompanied by many great players here, amongst them Freddie Green, Red Callender, Howard McGee on trumpet, the great Roy Haynes, and Dodo Marmoroso on several tracks on piano, one of the great unsung bop and post-bop players, Dodo Marmoroso. Here on the Aladdin Sessions from 1975 on chess. Brings us to our final choice today, Marvin Gaye, Here My Dear, 1978, produced by Marvin, recorded and mixed at the Marvin Gaye studio in Hollywood, California, which I believe is his house at the time. This is Marvin's 15th album, as we say, from 1978. Beautiful double album, some of his best songs, in my opinion. Absolutely stunning work. Very, very focused on the breakup of a relationship, of love and its joys and consequences. Recorded really to pay off a financial decision that he was responsible for his soon-to-be ex-wife, Anna Gordy Gaye. Very complex and complicated. The sister of the founder of Motown Records, Berry Gordy, And of course, Marvin started out with Motown and one of their greatest stars and greatest songwriters and performers. And of course, albums with Diana Ross, Tammy Terrell, and others. This album recorded for and under very stressful circumstances, as you can imagine, and what results is a work of art. Here, My Dear, by Marvin Gaye, an excellent double album. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me once again on Jim's Record Party. It's been my extreme pleasure to present these albums today here on Jim's Record Party. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Join us again next week at this same time on this same station. I'm your host. My name is James. This is Jim's Record Party.